Welcome back to Quantum Health Transformation. We're on step 1 today. This is the final step in a 9-step workshop series. I started with step 9 and we've been working our way slowly through primers and live action videos to the place right here under the little angel, state of bliss, and spiritual exercises. Now, to understand what I mean by a state of bliss and how you can achieve a state of bliss is all found on the primer of the same name, Quantum Health Transformation, Step 1, White, State of Bliss, and Spiritual Exercises. The spiritual exercises are there to help you raise your vibrational frequency, and are there to also help you to attain a state of bliss. So if you haven't already done so, stop the video now, go back to the primer. It's found in logical sequence on my website and may or may not be in logical sequence on YouTube. But whatever source you're using to watch this, go back and watch the primer. When you've done that, come back. Oops, I'm missing something here. Sorry. Come back and play this video, and then you'll get way more out of the material. So as I mentioned in the previous video, which is the primer of the same name, the primer has all the notes and the details, and then I flesh out that information in the live action video. Oh, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Holton. I have a bachelor degree in social work, but I didn't study child apprehension or any of the mainstream type fields within social work. I specialized in family counseling and also in addictions. So my background is multidisciplined. I also have a 2-year, it took me 2 years to get my diploma in women's studies. And so it's a multidisciplined background that I have, includes psychology, includes biology, includes sociology, just tons of stuff, anthropology. And so you'll see that I have quite an eclectic approach to the information that I'm presenting today. So just to touch base briefly on what the spiritual exercises are that are mentioned in the primer, they focus on basically 9 attributes or virtues that we can brush up on and use more in our lives to get more of what we want out of life. And those are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, mildness, and self-control. Each one of these is like a portal that opens up a whole new way of being, thinking, perceiving, and experiencing life. So I really recommend you go back and do the primer if you haven't already done so. Anyway, getting on to this live action video, Quantum Health Transformation, Step 1. What practicing those virtues does is it opens up an alternate reality. It's like stepping out of the reality that we have become familiar with and stepping into a new reality. And when we change our reality, we also change the world. Everything is connected, absolutely everything. And so everything that we change within ourselves shifts our perceptual reality, but it also makes a difference in the kind of footprint we're making on the earth and the types of effects we're having on other people, animals, even the land itself, the rocks, minerals, everything. So when we change our reality, we change the world. And a lot of people are now familiar with the concept of collective consciousness. So we have a collective consciousness that is the human collective consciousness. There is also collective consciousness amongst different kinds of critters, like bees have and ants have collective consciousness. Zebras have collective consciousness. Each within their own kind, they have a collective consciousness. The animal slash bug slash plant slash aquatic and flying creature paradigms all are able to connect with each other's collective consciousnesses. And that's what helps to form the unity and the freedom that's found on the planet. Humankinds have set up a construct, and the construct is psychological, it's political, it's economic, and it has infused language into our way of being. And language sort of covers up the same spots in the brain that we need for animal communication, plant communication. And so we have been limited by the ways and the way of being that we have been taught as human beings on this planet. But I'm going to show you ways that we can really make some positive adjustments to ourselves and then in turn to the rest of the world. So along with collective consciousness, we have the human collective consciousness. So when we change and we form an alternate reality, we're changing the world, we're changing the human collective consciousness, and this is bringing about what we would call a paradigm shift. A completely new way of being, seeing, perceiving, doing, thinking, eating. Every aspect of our life is shifting at this time. And the more we practice the virtues that I've talked about in the primer, the more we strengthen and infuse power into a global awakening. And this is also carrying over with Facebook and YouTube, are powerful, powerful tools where we're sharing our positive influence with other people, and we're encouraging each other, we're bootstrapping each other, and we're really, really making some significant progress in this world. If you are freaked out by all the negative, horrible things happening in the world, shut that stuff off for a while and start paying attention to what's going on that's right with this world. Watch TED Talks. TED Talks, there's so many TED Talks. Each one is positive in its own way. There are a plethora or cornucopia of spiritual people out there who are giving you information, and you'll find that we're all sort of saying the same thing. We just have different approaches because you are all different. We're all unique because of this human mindset that we've adopted and has bred or influenced us for thousands of years. Oh, lost my train of thought. Okay, anyway, so all of this can change. We can bring about global awakening. It's already happening. Make use of Facebook and YouTube and start doing some research on all the incredible, awesome things that are going on this planet right now. Just going to check my notes, see if I forgot anything. One by one, we change and we add to the paradigm shift. So we're reinforcing each other's realities. The movement is gaining strength and power. And we're actually at the, I think we're at the tipping point. We're at the event horizon where everything is shifting before our very eyes. And one example of that is how many countries have banned GMO and Monsanto. And also oppressive regimes are falling. And as people's awareness is expanding, we're actually seeing huge, huge changes that we never thought would be possible. So the next point I want to talk about is when we speak, act, and think, when we're on our own, is often very different than the way we speak, act, and think when we're in the company of other people. And this depends on who that company is. So I don't know about you, but I found that I can be all right with the universe and spiritual in my mind and focused, and then I'll start spending some time with someone perhaps who I think, oh, that person really needs some encouragement. And with the best of intentions, I start sort of hanging with them, spending time with them. But what I notice is what happens is it's a two-way street. So yes, I'm trying to encourage them, but if they're not in that place where they can really make use of that encouragement, they're also affecting me. And I'm becoming discouraged. And I'm starting to understand or give over to their way of thinking, which is not overly helpful. And so we're definitely affected by the company we keep. And that includes movies, music, people on Facebook, all kinds of things. So when dealing with people who have a negative approach to the planet, rather than spending oodles of time assisting them, helping them, doing things to help make their lives easier, focus on just giving them kindness And charity when it's appropriate. I mean, I'm a firm believer in charity. I have given and I have received. And if it wasn't for this interplay, I don't know how I could have made it this far. So please don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. People with a negative approach need the kindness and the charity. And that in itself, those are two very powerful tools that can often help flip them over to a more positive approach. And that's how we can help them. But what we really want to do is we want to make contact with people who have a positive approach. And by doing so, we're not only adding to the collective consciousness, but we're also very much ensuring their success. And the more success they have, the more success we have, because we're all unfolding together and we're all pulling ourselves into this new reality together. So what happens is when we have association with positive people who have a positive approach, and this again can include the media, movies, music, Facebook, YouTube, TED Talks, you name it, what happens is it increases our vibrational resonant frequency. Now, I haven't exactly grammatically done this 100% right, but you get what I'm trying to say here. It increases our resonant frequency, which means it's uplifting not only to ourselves, it's uplifting to everybody and everything. And so I want you to keep that in mind. The other thing about having more contact with people, places, and things that have positive approach to awareness and healing is it frees up our time and our energy. And so we can reinforce that new reality even more. So instead of being drained, we're being energized. Okay? And so what happens is we have more time, we have more energy, and then we're spilling that back into the whole positive approach that we have. And what's happening is we're literally creating a new reality. Pretty darn exciting if you ask me. And it makes a good reason to get up in the morning and a good reason to take care of myself. Just checking my notes. Okay, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is those topics that dominate our thoughts and intentions form our resonant frequency and also our character. And the more power we give and attention we give to our thoughts and intentions and our character, the more we're going to see an outcome from that. And if it's positive, we become extremely, extremely powerful. Okay, next page. Okay, I know this is some strong words here, but think about what I'm saying, please. I believe that we condemn or save ourselves and our world by the approach that we take to being alive right now. Think about it. What happens is we start to become a certain energy. We start to become more positive. We start to become more loving, more peaceful, having more faith, more self-control. It changes us. It changes every fiber of our being. Dr. Emoto did some interesting experiments with the way words affect water. Well, we're mostly made up of water. So there's just oodles and oodles of evidence that would tell me I'm on the right track. And a really important part of this is to remember that you are God's temple. God's temple isn't a building somewhere. It isn't a sacred site somewhere on earth. It's your body. Sorry, it makes me emotional because it's so important that I give you this message. And it's changed my life so much. I want you to nourish your body. I want you to care for your body. And I want you to protect your body. Because yes, it's yours to do with as you want, but it's also God's temple. And you've got an obligation to treat your body properly so that you can hold the frequency and help change things for the better. Okay? So our guidance comes from the center when we're respecting God's temple. And I'm talking about quite literally from the center of our body. Now in Tai Chi and Qigong, we learn that the center is here because it's the center of the torso, which corresponds to the yellow chakra. But it's actually more than that. It's actually also the green, because the green is our heart chakra, and it is the center between the other chakras that we have, here, here, and here, and here, and here, 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 and here. So it is the center of our energy-driven machine. It's also the place that emanates our torus field from our heart chakra. And we have two really important spiritual gifts in our physical body. One is the pineal gland, and the other one is the heart. And the heart mediates our energy and our torrential field, and our pineal gland is what opens us up to our linkages to who we really are, who we were before we got this body, who we are while we have this body, and who we will be after we lose this body. And so we want to take very, very careful attention to God's temple. And so this guidance that comes from the center, it leads to a freedom that I've never experienced before. And that freedom is sensational awareness. So the more I release my mental or ego control, the more the sensational awareness runs on autopilot. So as long as I'm not interfering with it, I'm running on sensational awareness, which is also running on autopilot. And what this does is it gives body sensations, and body sensations are clues to what we need to pay attention to, or what we need to run towards, what we need to run away from. And it can be anywhere in our body, this sensational awareness. If we get a lot of headaches, it can be tied in to any of the chakras in the head. It can be tied into issues that we haven't resolved that we need to pay attention around our thinking. If we have sensations on the left side of our body, we might be not paying enough attention to the female side of our physical and spiritual reality. If it's on the right side, it might be our male side is taking on too much. Anywhere we have pain or discomfort, those are messages. This is sensational awareness that comes up for us to teach us things and to sort of direct us in the right direction. And once we learn to listen to this, there's really nothing you can't do. Miracles become everyday occurrences. And so what happens is when we engage this autopilot system, we have more time for thought and energy, because we're not thinking within the construct. And so it frees up. Instead of, oh, well, how do I do the right thing, or where should I go from here? It's really already obvious. And so our energy, instead of trying to constantly serve the ego or our programmed mental state, it just releases so much thought and energy, and thought actually is energy, and suddenly we find new ways of being and new ways of doing. And here's a little happy face, because it actually does make you very happy. Okay? Just going to check my notes again. Sorry about this, but some people are really good at remembering all the details, and me, Okay. Yep, that's all covered. Good, good, good. I'm doing fine. I'm on a roll. I'm really excited because this is the last step, and I've been working on this for just over a year, and each step I've actually channeled the information, because it's not that I'm the smartest person in the world or the most enlightened. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the adjustments, each of the 9 steps, I make those personal adjustments in my own life, and that frees up more and more and more spiritual influence that comes from center, okay? So steps 9 through 1 will assist you with the transition from going from being a person who's just a mainstream person, no disrespect to mainstream people, but we all have to start somewhere, right? So it takes you from there to being an awakened being. Enlightenment is your birthright. Enlightenment is not for some special people. We're all able to find enlightenment and to expand our awareness. So following the 9 steps. If you haven't done so, go back and watch the steps. They're not meant specifically for you to do everything that I'm telling you in the steps. Those are recommendations. But I'm hoping they'll stimulate your own way of knowing, your own way of being, so that you can branch out in those areas and start taking better care of yourself and your temple self as well. So a lot of people are going, well, what about Team Dark, and what about, the military-industrial complex? Oh my goodness, you can really drown in all the information out there about this and lose your perspective. But I'm encouraging you to stop participating in it. Like Team Dark, stop participating in it. And an excellent way to stop participating in Team Dark is to do the spiritual exercises that I've recommended in the primer of step 1. Okay? And along with stop participating is, you're all upset about fracking, and you're all upset about pipelines, and you're all upset about First Nations issues about what oil is doing to the land. Those are good concerns. No disrespecting those concerns. But let's do something about them on a personal, everyday level, okay? Buy less. For goodness sakes, do you really need all the crap? Use less fuel, okay? I have a car. I feel guilty about it, and I can't wait until I have an energy efficient and a cleaner method of transportation. But I drive it only when I need to. So I do more walking, which is good for me. Or I plan carpooling. Or I don't run out and get things at a whim. I think about what I need to go out and get, and I put those things together. You can do this too. I mean, if we all just purchased less and used less fuel, it would throw a monkey wrench into the military-industrial complex. Don't you want to do that? I do. This is a positive application of being a saboteur, okay? So over here, let's go back to spend more time in nature. This is something you can do. So this is maybe what not to do so much of. This is what to do more of, okay? Spend more time in nature. It'll energize you. It'll inspire you. It'll ground you. It'll connect you with what's really important in this world. No disrespect to Walmart, but come on, nature. Nature is the place you want to be. If it's hot outside or cold outside, instead of ducking into the mall, duck into the woods. You can do this. How about shopping fair trade, organic and non-GMO / processed, okay? I recently saw a documentary about the sweatshops around the world, and I have been guilty of having a bit of a glut for clothes, especially since I lost so much weight, and I was a big girl all my life. I never really got a chance to wear all the cool stuff, and so I went a little bit crazy for a couple of years. I shop mostly secondhand, but I'm aware that some of the brands are made by my brothers and sisters, slaving away, being poisoned, and forced to live in squalor so that I can have a cheap t-shirt. So, I'm trying not to do so much of that. I'm trying to find out where my clothes are made and do more fair trade. Organic, non-GMO, non-processed. These are things that defile the temple body. You want to do better. Oh, yes, everything costs more. Yeah, it costs more, but you get a bigger bang for your buck. So really, you're saving money as far as I'm concerned. And you can't afford to not take a look at this, okay? And at least add some of it into your life. Nobody's perfect. We don't just go from being a defiled creature into a pure being of light, overnight. Hell no. In fact, that's probably why we come back more than once, so that we can deal with our shit one layer at a time, okay? Next, eat less dairy and meat. If you eat less dairy and meat, you're making a positive contribution to freeing up those animals that are being treated so horribly. You're also producing way less greenhouse gases. In fact, going vegan for a year, you will reduce your footprint as far as the carbon emissions and the things that are speeding up global warming more significantly than if you stop driving your car. Okay? We've become these gluttons for meat, these tortured animals. Come on, eat less. Okay, you can't quit you know, you're a type O and you gotta have your meat. I get it. Or you might be an Aboriginal person where meat's a big part of your diet. Okay, but rely on more humane sources for your meat and dairy. Please. Please, please, please. Okay. Where am I? My last page of notes here. Grounding, body movement, body work, all helps with the transition. And again, like I've said, steps 9 through 1 cover everything you need to know. It's a pretty neat package the way I've laid out the information, and that information is not from my great big fantastic brain. I channeled that information, and it has come to me from a source that I trust and I have come to love. Excuse me. Yep, I covered all my notes. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it for step 1 for the live part. I hope I have inspired you somewhat. Please contact me through my website. Even if you don't have the will or the finances to hire me to be your coach, which actually, if you take a look at my website, you will find out that I'm not really that expensive, and I work in half-hour increments because most of the material is for free in my transformation videos under the transformation video tab of www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. Okay? If you have any questions, please write to me. Ask me questions. I'd be happy to answer them, whatever they are. I'll make some videos. I'll post them. Because I'm sure if you've got a question, there's a lot of other people who have the same question. Okay? There's my blog. You can subscribe to my blog. As I mentioned, transformational videos. Services, products. I only have 2 products at this point. Hemp seeds, guaranteed the freshest, best tasting hemp seeds you can find, and this is the incredibly most best source of protein you can find. Far better source of protein, the kind of protein that's easily digested and goes straight to repair, straight to building up your body temple, okay? And much better than meat or fish. And the perfect oils to saturate your brain, which is made mostly out of fat, with the right kind of oils so that you can carry the transmissions and the things you need to do for a healthy brain. And I also have some Zendomes, which is organite. And for those of you that don't know what organite is orgone generators. And there's a lot of information on my website on how they work, so I'm going to save the time and not get into that too much here. So that is it for step 1. The other thing I want to say is if you're not familiar with the point of convergence, where science and math have converged with spirituality, I really recommend you watch anything produced by Spirit Science. Those folks have taken a lot of time and effort into producing a series of videos that can take you through different learning outcomes so that you can really get a grasp on what's going on. And this is not just my information, this is just how I have taken and downstepped that information and presenting it to you. And these are the actual steps that I have used in my own life, and I have transformed my life. I have a much healthier temple body, and as it gets better and better, I'm able to do more and have more of the most fabulous sort of spiritual experiences that you've heard about. So, that's it. The only other thing I want to do is I want to tell you you're doing great. I believe in you. I believe in you. You might be going, oh yeah, right, I don't even know you. Yes, I do know you, because this is connected to you and to all people and to all things, okay? And I know you're doing your best, and I think you're doing great. And I want you to take my love, just take a minute and accept my love. Even if you don't believe in it, just accept it. Let it warm you up a little bit. Let it add to your day. Because I love you, I really do. And I want you to have the very, very best life possible. Join me in the new collective consciousness that's transforming this world and making it an awesome place. Take care.